Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to BlackOut Gaming TV as we enter the playoff stage of the ETF2L Season 9 Premiership season. I said season twice there, doesn't matter, I'm going to keep going. We have got tonight the third place team, which is Highpander, against the, maybe you could call it the surprising fourth place team, which is the Premiership newcomers, The Experiment. They will be playing off against each other in what is essentially the quarterfinal. Whoever wins tonight will move on to the semi-final stage to play Strong Opinions in the next round. I'm CeeJaey, and with me tonight is Sigafoo with John on the camera. Sigafoo, how are you, my man?
I am excited for some playoff action. I mean, this is what we play for all season, and it'll be an interesting matchup tonight as you're saying, this is the kind of quarterfinal for anybody who's not familiar with E2F2L. If you're an American like myself, not used to the European playoff style, it's fourth place against third. The winner of that plays against the second place team in regular season, and the winner against that plays the first place team. So if you finish first in the league, you automatically get a spot in the grand finals, which is a little bit different than the way we do it in the UGC side. But either way, we are readied up here and ready to go. So exciting matchup to head us underway into this upward match.
Yeah, we've got 3 maps today. This first pick is Upward, and this was picked by Highpander. So we would assume that they're going to be doing better on this map, as it is their choice. But I think this is going to be interesting. We're already seeing some of this new meta going along. We've got Muuki running the Kritzkrieg at the start of the game and then killing himself because now Ubers they charge 3 times as fast as they did previously in the setup stage, which allows your medic to kind of use the Kritzkrieg, use the crits onto the demo man. So Hildreth has placed these crit sticky traps all over the right hand side, and then Muuki can spawn again and then rebuild his Uber back to normal. So it's interesting to see that put into play. Is that do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's worth having those crit traps?
I mean, you have virtually no downside to do it. The interesting thing that you can see that he's doing here is he's not actually trapping like a traditional trap. You have 8, 9 stickies in the same, or 8 stickies in the same spot, or 6 stickies, or whatever. But he's actually just got one place, kind of all these random different spots. So even if he just gets 1 kill with it, it's more than what he would have gotten. And it also kind of slows down the team as they are starting to come out of the gate here right now. That is the Experiment pushing out on the offensive side. Joe trying to get a little bit forward, taking a little bit of damage, but no suicide wave. It looks like they just want to start to take ground as a nice backstab comes in there from Chuper taking down the scout there.
Yeah, I think for me, the player for Experiment that's going to really open things up is going to be Chuper. A lot is talked about how Joe is kind of the heart and soul of this team with his better half Layla on medic. But I do think Chuper can really open the doors as Grenjabob gets a backstab onto Justice, the heavy on the cart, and it's just been a solid defense so far. People dying on the side of the Experiment. No Ubers forced, no major losses for Highpander just yet, and this is just kind of pushing the cart up to a little bit past this choke point. Maybe try to at this point you want to get the sniper, you want to get the medic would be the big pick. NG Sentry, something like that, but the medic has already come out. Layla is here, and the Uber is used very early on. It's flashed a couple of times. Joe taking the majority of it, going forward, and it is used there onto Kunai. She's going to keep it on the heavy and force people away, but in all of that, Tracker did go down, and Kunai goes down as well to a headshot from Milchman, so that's really going to open some doors for Experiment to come in here. No sniper to contend with, and they're just holding this top area, Sigafoo, and just free spam down onto Highpander.
Yeah, I mean, this is Experiment right now. As soon as you get the Uber Exchange, you need to take the high ground and start bullying out the enemy team, and they're finally getting around to doing that.
Muuki goes down to a headshot from Milchman. I don't know where he was standing, but he just rained down a headshot straight onto the Highpander medic. Sorry to interrupt there, but people are just dying all over for Highpander, and this isn't looking bad for Experiment as Doom goes down to Chuper. Nice headshot there using the Ambassador. That means no NG. It's not going to be a sentry built up on second, as there's 5 people in the sport. As they've walked, they've got 100% Uber. Layla here, fully charged, and I think this is going to be pretty much a Tracker goes down there. Joe just peeking forward and getting a couple of stickies onto the medic, but Layla's in a really bad position here. Goes down to really low HP, does get forced, but if Joe is smart, he might be able to catch out Muuki, but he's not aware, and Muuki manages to back off but that second cap does go down. 2 minutes 55. Joe is still forward. A couple of pipes coming in, bobbling around near the combo. Not managing to get it, but Layla did go down in that. Ast managing to get the kill. On defense, he is, well, all over the map, I am sure. He is going to be doing a lot of work for Highpander. Some impressive stats coming from the Finnish scout. I'm just waiting for Sigafoo to come back. Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here right now. As I'm seeing Muuki sitting at that 100%, Layla sitting at 25, so a little bit slow on the offensive here to try to do anything as the card is moving up. Nice job there by callecool, slowly moving that card up as it's getting a little bit of aggression. Actually, Joe goes down here a little bit too aggressive as I say that. Mentalux get actually caught in a little bit of a weird spot right here by the heavy. The combo for the defensive side in a really nice spot, but again, nobody's really focusing the cart as a scout and engineer are pretty much able to push it for free. Hildreth is trying to put some spam down on it, but they do get it through the first pass through. And this is what's really important on this third point is pushing that card up. I mean, it seems like not so important, it's just the card. I'm not talking about the combo, but the card is so important because it allows you to do so much work and allow these pushes to be effective. So here we go. We should see an Uber exchange here pretty shortly as we're seeing 95% on the offensive side. Uber is going to be probably popped on Joe. Uber gets popped off actually on the Soldier. Zub is actually going to try jumping over the top. Joe's going to get pushed back here by the nice job by the Pyro as this offensive Uber is pretty much nullified, but the sentry gun does go down. The cart is being moved forward because in that whole process, no one tried to kill anybody on the cart, and this third point's going to go down basically for free. They are trying to contest it right now.
If I could clap as well as hold my push to talk key down, I would. I mean, I would consider slapping my face, but this is professional casting Sigafoo, so I'm not going to do that. But Blood is there. I mean, he has just sat on that cart, and he has just managed by himself to get that car all the way forward and make, like, it's just simple. It's simple, but it's so effective, and he wasn't contested, and he's just done the boring job that a scout has to do, and he's pushed that car all the way up forward, and it's right on top of the cap now. He just needs to tickle a little bit, and it will be pushed forward as the Uber was basically just a distraction. Kept the Highpander combo busy, yeah, Experiment here just need to kind of push forward. They are dealing with an Uber disadvantage though, as Muuki is up, but no, Blitters again just walks onto it. Ashley, it's a 7 kill streak. A big jump in from the soldiers. Oh, Layla with the arrow. Crossbows down Zoob. Great play by her. And Muuki does use his Uber. Layla has to back off here, and she's going to have some sort of Uber advantage. She's at 60% at the moment. She's not got very many players alive to protect her. But she's kind of being helped here by Justice in the house, and this isn't looking bad from Experiment. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm surprised. They're a good team, but they're looking sort of pretty dominant at the moment. I'm sure Highpander are going to be a bit concerned.
Yeah, Highpander just looks like they're playing a little bit afraid. I'm not sure if they're playing too passive or what they need to do. Is a nice job there by Doom to grab out the sentry gun to move it back onto that third point, having that level 2 ready to go. As we're going to get the sniper, the furthest one forward, who's going to try to find something. Actually, this is that the Soldier at Mentalax is actually very far forward, and where's the combo right now? Where are they? I'm trying to find them. Where's Hildreth? Hildreth is down right now. The medic is still up, but I'm just trying to figure out like where they're trying to hold. They're holding at spawn. I don't know if that's the best place for them to be right now, as the sentry gun does go down, and the Experiment is not looking bad at all right now. As Layla did go down,
Tracker managed to get the headshot onto Layla there. I mean, Grenjabob and Ast is on a 10 kill streak, well, he was before he died. He was just cleaning up frags, just getting so much damage. But Grenjabob got 3 kills there as the Uber was going on. But Bloodis there retaliates, saying, you know, he can be just as good as his Finnish counterpart on Scout, and he does take down Muuki. 4 players left alive here for Highpander. There is a level 1 being Rescue Ranger, but it finally goes down to a body shot from Milkman, and there is a lot of people on the cart. This may be the cap straight away, yes, wow. Experiment have capped. 6:29 is
that's good.
Yeah, it's
that's
a
really
very decent time. I mean, yeah, I mean, Experiment are going to be very happy with this, and I'm just wondering what's going to be going through Hildreth and Muuki's mind, whether they're going to try to do a little bit of medic shenanigans, whether some crits is going to be in order, because yeah, I mean, all Experiment need to do is get a couple of decent holds, and yeah, Highpander are under a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, and just to be confirmed on this best of 3, are we just doing one round of this, or are we actually going into a full
I know
best of
you
3
want
on
to leave.
This map itself?
I know you want to leave.
I got a foot out the door, you know.
No, every map is played to the normal rules as per the regular season. So we've got 2 payload maps, that's guaranteed. We're Upward and Barn Blitz. Both of those will be played to a best of 3. And then Product, if we need to, it will be the final map, and that will be played best of 5, so first to 3.
Okay, yeah, so I mean, but either way, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out like what went wrong with Highpander there, and I'm not really exactly sure. I mean, the third point they actually had a pretty decent defense, but the biggest thing was not focusing down the cart, allowing them to get so much free cap time. That fourth point, they just never really seem to get their feet underneath of them. Then taking that upper area tends to be pretty important here. As Highpander is now going to be on offense on the blue side. Usually they do like to get an early bomb off.
Mookie's on Crits Creek,
goodness.
And he's already walked out here. He's with Hildreth, and the Uber's used. Experiment no, and they use the Uber. I'm not sure if that might be a mistake, Sigafoo. I mean,
I don't know what you want with that.
Maybe they think they heard the call, the medic is out, and they wanted to. They just wanted to kill him because obviously you can't be invulnerable with Crits Creek. But the fact that they haven't caught him means that they now have 100% disadvantage, and they've got nothing to protect themselves with against the crits now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they hold this, but the Crits Creek is going to come off. Here comes the first one, takes down Joe. No Delman on this defensive side as another one comes out on the Eddie. So no Pyro, he's trying to launch one way over the top, gets a little bit of damage onto the Heavy, but they're going to jump over. Actually, Hildreth is going to come over onto the hill. He's going to be contested by this Heavy, but Zoob's going to come in with a direct hit, tries to take down the Heavy. Is he going to be able to get out alive? Yes, he is, but Layla is still up, fortunately, at 50% all the way back onto the second point, so at least they did a decent job getting out. And the Devilman Joe is already back up, but the hill is being taken pretty quickly by Highpander right now.
Yeah, they are really aggressive. Maybe not as much as Experiment were when they were able to push forward. They do have some sort of resistance. It's a level 2, and they do have, Layla is going to have her Uber soon. And a couple of players are dying here from Highpander, and the Uber is used. Very first stick, he lands onto Muuki. He's up to 100 HP. He manages to serve the second one as well. He's 53, 8 HP. He's at 96%. Manages to get onto the health pack, though he is stayed alive.
A little bit. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, so Kunai actually, she was in the double window room, hid there, let the Uber pass her, and then came back out as soon as it was done, took out the Heavy in a 1v1, and then took out the medic, and that's going to clear it up for Highpander here to push all the way through the second point. Now it's going to be on to Layla, who just got back up at 10%, but Muuki sitting at 100%. I believe he's still on Crits Creek. They should have a good chance of pushing this third point, but the thing that we talked about on the last third point was that it takes so long to push through here, as they do, again, have the Crits Creek ready. How is Hildreth going to push this, as the Crits Creek should come out here? He puts a couple stickies back into that back, like, C area. The Heavy's going to be able to get out alive. Tries to find something, actually not able to connect on anything. It didn't even get a kill out of it. Grenjabob did take down Layla right there, so that's a nice job by him. As no medic on the defensive side, and we'll kind of see how it resets here, and hopefully, CeeJaey, you're back with me.
I hope so, yeah. I think Mumble's working for me, but it seems I keep cutting out for some reason. But yeah, I mean, Experiment here just kind of struggling a little bit. They're probably going to have to just deal with the final hold. Layla is still on Medigun, but she's a big disadvantage to what Muuki is running. 2 seconds, and Experiment will have full respawns, but Highpander are pretty much going to get this third point. Muuki at 75% in main, still running that Crits Creek, and Experiment not in a good position to hold this last point, as it's only Joe by himself in the top here. Doesn't have his mate. Oh, finally, no. Layla does join him. And I think it's all down to this next crits play, as Muuki gets down to really low health, but stays alive. And this, I mean, there's a few pushes in Highpander here, but this crits play could really decide the fate of this round.
Yeah, well, 3 minutes left on the clock. I mean, even if they do fail this next push, you get at least 2 to 3 more pushes, depending on how you decide to play. It looks like Hildreth is going down with the entire team. Zub is going to do the pop-up from the lower area. You can see him getting ready there. He actually finally goes onto the combo. He gets a rocket onto Joe, but that's not going to be enough to get the force off, as Layla sitting at the 100%. Here comes the Crits Creek, takes down 2 right there. Down goes the medic with Hildreth. That Crits Creek is just proving so good. Invulnerability, who needs that when you can do 3 times damage? But Joe comes back with 2 nice pipes, taking down Muuki, and this should open it up, though. But both teams have lost a decent amount of players, but it should come out in the favor of Highpander if they do play correctly.
Yeah, I think that was a drop by Layla. I think that might be the first drop of the game so far. But actually, this isn't looking too bad for the Experiment, as XD is at the top here with Bloodis and Mentalex. They are holding this top area, as Tracker does ring out a headshot, and Layla goes down again. Milchman replies just a little bit later on, but this sentry needs to stay up alive. callecool doing the best that he can to keep this sentry alive, but 4 down for Highpander. They are trying to get this cart in. Kunai doing the best she can, but she's just going to get spammed out as well. And it's all going to be about this next crits play. 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the clock. Experiment are in a decent position as long as they don't all wipe from this crit Sigafoo, and
Well, they
that's
actually
just
switched
going
to
to be
Uber.
down. Oh, is it Uber now?
Yeah, so he just switched. So after he went down, I believe he switched to Uber, and actually Layla died from Tracker just a little bit ago. So that's going to actually give a nice 50% Uber advantage as Muuki's coming up at 95%. So it looks like they'll be pushing from lower stairs.
Oh, Layla, Joe with the double pipe takes down Grenjabob, keeps Layla alive, and the Uber is actually going to come from underneath, and it focuses that sentry, and then Hildreth does a big jump over, but Justice is just going to use that minigun to gun him down, prevent him from taking the top straight away, and the cart is so close to the end now, but Layla is still alive. She managed to survive all of that, 70% Uber in the bank, and if she can use this Uber, that is going to really stall this last point. Highpander do have the height advantage. They have this upper area above the cart, and it's all going to be about what the experiment combo do. Is that Grenjabob comes in, doesn't manage to get a kill. Great spy checking there from XD, just in the nick of time. And really at this moment, it's all about the coming seconds. Anything could happen now.
Yeah, Mental X finally goes down with that black box in the upper area. It can so much work, but right now the combo is pushed in a really bad spot. Joe actually gets Uber popped off him too, but they do drop the pyro in that exchange. A couple of respawns come up in the favor of the defensive side, and I mean, as you said, anything can happen right now. 26 seconds left on the clock. Finally, Uber does come off onto Hildreth. It's going to focus down this sentry gun. Actually, it's still up. Can it go down? callecool grabs the gun, but finally does go down. I was hoping he'd be able to keep it alive, but here we go. 15 seconds left on the clock. Engineers onto the cart. Joe's doing a good amount of damage, and the spy is actually cloaked on front of the cart. Does anybody see him? Yes, it's going to be the sniper and the medic. We're going to deny this. Joe is going to do everything he can, but finally goes down. Milkman tries to get a snipe. The soldier jumps over the top, but not enough as the cart goes in, and barely Highpander is going to take that first round. What an absolutely close round.
That was insanely close. Oh my word! For a second
Is that
now,
1
I thought
second?
it was about 1 or 2 seconds left on the clock. Mental X was so close. I mean, just a split second earlier, if he jumped onto the cart and just landed a rocket, even just stopped it for that second, I think Experiment might have won that round. But a great play by Gorston. I have to give a shout out to him. He came in from underneath, just charged into Joe and Layla, and that allowed the kills to come in onto those two. Once your medic and cameraman are down, callecool did so much work trying to keep that sentry alive and spamming. Maybe he died right at the end there. That was so close. I mean, that could have gone either way in the dying seconds.
Yeah.
But that first round does go to Highpander, and I mean that sets it up for another. I mean, surely Experiment are going to feel that they have they can beat Highpander today. They can win this round. These next two rounds, and take the map surely.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely did not look out of that. They looked very much in form, and I mean, the defensive looked weak through a couple bad plays. I mean, the biggest thing that happened there was actually Kunai might have won them that round there on the offensive side after picking up Layla on that second point, allowing them to push through that easily, because they had a failed push just prior to that. And so picking up the medic in that situation kind of allowed that entire roll to happen. And really, if we can see the Experiment have any semblance of a defense, I think they have a good chance that if they can continue the offense that they had in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think the issue with the Experiment on the defense was they got a little bit overeager, perhaps. They thought, okay, we've hit a good time. We're in prime position here. We're in the commanding, the commanding position for this round, and maybe using that Uber right at the start, that kind of handed the advantage to Highpander, and they didn't really lose it until that last point. I mean, from first to second to third, there wasn't really a moment where Experiment had a good hold that they could just, deal with. And when you're constantly in a disadvantage in the Uber stakes, it becomes very, very hard to kind of switch that around, especially on the payload map. So yeah, I think maybe if they just held that Uber, waited for the crits to come in, use the Uber, sure, you're going to hand an advantage to them, but at least you're going to save some players. At least you've made them walk forward and wasted, a minute of the time. I think maybe they're just a little bit overeager here. As teams have been switched, we are going to this second round. And this time, Highpander will be pushing first. Experiment will be holding, defending, and then we'll be swapping around. Do you think Highpander are going to use crits again, or do you think that was just a special strap based on the fact that they had a fairly decent time to beat?
Well, right now, the medic is on Chris Krieg again. I mean, I suppose if it worked, why not, do it again? But to some degree, I think that the biggest problem happened on that first point, as you pointed out, where they popped Uber to try to kill the medic or something. I'm not sure exactly what their hope was to do, but they basically wasted their Uber, and that gave up the first point, the second point, the third point, almost instantly, just because they couldn't transition from point to point. But there looks like they're going to do Chris Krieg again. I mean, it worked up until that final point, but I don't know if it's the best idea. But let's see, did they switch off of it? Was it just a lie? Looks like they are back on Uber. It was a mind game. Yeah.
I mean, you can build 3 or 4 Ubers in the spawn. You can constantly change. It looks like Tracker has disconnected, has to restart TF2, so maybe he'll be back before the game starts. We don't have to pause. I'm not sure if we are pausing. No, people are moving, so we are still live. Just to shout out to Tracker and Grenjabob there, they were the top fraggers of that previous round. Both of them got 17 kills. Just behind was Joe with 16. So the assassin classes for Highpander doing a lot of work. And Grenjabob there getting a lot of key picks, I feel, on the attack. As 3 players die, already 4 players die for Highpander. The only one in return was Milchman, who has respawned. And it's just this very slow kind of managing your chess pieces, Sigafoo, just getting your players in the right positions before you kind of go for that initial push.
Yeah, Trooper gets caught out here. He running the Cloak and Dagger, just kind of giving up some information. So now the defense does not have anything. The experiment cannot tell you when the medic's coming out. Finally see them, and it looks like Muuki's looking to do that as after the first suicide wave, looks like we're going to get one more, as actually Zoom comes in onto the medic, gets a force off into Layla, who actually pops just in time because Grenjabob was right there to take him out as Hildreth goes down as well. But again, these respawns, they're going to be up in about 6 seconds as Gorston goes down from a nice headshot, close range. There you go. But we should see a push here from the offensive side of Highpander, and they should be able to take this pretty easily. I mean, now it's actually got to be careful that you don't get stuck in not having an Uber on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, Experiment have all of their players up, but they do lose their sniper, which may be the key to get out there. They have the players, they just don't have the Uber. Layla's only at 40%, and if Highpander do this clinically enough, they can just wipe them before moving on to second. But Experiment are still in here, they're still keeping their players in. Joe goes down, no Demo Man, and Layla's just going to jump on the teleporter. Yeah. Clever teleporter just to get her back to second point, and she's already in the house, and that was... That's okay, that's decent. I mean, Highpander, haven't had to use their Uber, but Layla might get it just before they try to push second.
Though we did get the Demoman Joe going down, Grenjabob in a really nice spot in that double window, as well as a sniper gets picked off here. The second point should go down very easily right now, because just look at the positioning. Really nice job out of Highpander, taking all the ground that they can take, and the experiment wisely backing up to the third point. And I think this is just kind of, underlines, the difference between maybe high-level and low-level plays. Sometimes just understanding that we're not going to get this point, we shouldn't try to contest it, but this Heavy's actually doing just that. Justice almost goes down there. It's going to be able to get health pack as the Uber gets popped off. Was that a force?
Yeah, it was a force by Justice. He stayed.
Nice job then.
He stayed in, just focused the Heavy. He did so much damage to Kunai that Muuki felt that he needed to pop that Uber. So 100% for Layla now, and this third point is one of the points where you can get a lot of time. And third and fourth point, you can get time on the clock, and if they use these Uber advantages to their benefit, then they can really get a lot of time here. 2 minutes 28 is actually faster than the experiment capped earlier on. The first 2 points, but they are in an advantage now, so it'll be interesting. These next few plays will be interesting to see, and could dictate how fast this actually goes. Whether this is a very fast time or a slower time, as Highpander are just focusing this cart. Milchman getting the collateral kill, getting a headshot on Kunai, also taking down Zoob with it, but Tracker does take him down, so no sniper on this third point. That's going to allow Tracker to have free reign and just land some body shots onto people. Joe having to back off, not be able to peek that corner anymore. And Sigafoo, it's just kind of the same now, but this time it's Doom on the cart, and he's just pushing it upwards towards that cap point.
Yeah, right. I mean, generally, at least how we played in the American side, back onto the sentry gun, go down as Hildreth is going to jump way over the top. He's going to try to get some stickies underneath Layla's feet. Actually gets the kill. How did you get that kill, Hildreth? How were you alive? As he finally does go down, but this cart should be coming down pretty easily if they push it correctly. His ass is going to get healed up. He's going to try to get forward, eats one pipe. Is he going to be able to get this pyro? Yes, he will with the help of Zoob, as they're going to just push completely forward with ×2, ×4 now onto the cart. This third point's going to go down, all thanks to Hildreth kind of creating that distraction in space for his team.
Yeah, 4 minutes and 4:04. That first, that cap time for the third point, and yeah, Highpander, they have it all to play for. This is theirs to lose at the moment, as they are at 75%. Muuki and Layla has just spawned. She is in the top area, and Experiment really not in a good position here. Grenjabob gets milked. He's actually just going to uncloak, but then gets a body shot by Milchman. And Kunai just drops down. She's going to focus, but she gets killed by Justice. But Layla does go down to the stickies of Hildreth. But Highpander have lost 4 players in that push. The only players to go down there were Layla for the experiment. If they can keep that sentry up, they can grind out a little bit of more time as Joe does take down Muuki. Finally, he dies. And that could be Experiment's time to shine and just kind of chill on this last point and say, fine, 4 minutes. Let's add another 5 to that clock at least. And set a difficult time for Highpander to beat. But yeah, I mean, they're just getting the picks. It seems they're bleeding players.
Doom, I believe that was a crit Frontier Justice on Layla, who got caught out underneath. Engineer pick on the med. There you go. That's going to open it up here as Highpander's going to be pushing to this main side. Mentalix is in a really nice spot with the Heavy and Power who are holding up. Zoop's going to try to contest him, as well as the Engineer and Heavy, as Kunai is actually coming down here. Takes down XD, but Mentalix is still in a good spot, but Doom again coming in there, taking down the Heavy with that Frontier Justice and doing a lot of work this game on the offensive side. Always love to see that out of an Engineer. But looks like we're going to just kind of reset as we have a nice Uber advantage out of Highpander, about 50%. It looks like they're going to be pushing upper with Hildreth here.
Yeah, Doom going down there. Maybe he's being focused a bit, but no, Grenjabob gets the backstab onto Joe, and then guns down Layla. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. Finally, he goes down to a butter knife by Chupa, but Highpander are going to take that any day of the week. 4 players down, the Uber comes in, just going to focus the hell out of that sentry, which gets destroyed straight away. Hildreth killing at the next one as well. And with the amount of players down, Highpander just focusing the cart. They got the spawns. Joe has respawn. He's going to try and get stickies on the cart. The engine jumps in. Callie is on the cart with the Rescue Ranger. Gets destroyed there by Zoob. He just jumps up again onto the upper platform. But Highpander still haven't capped. They've got 2 players on the spawn. That's Gorson and Kunai. Kunai gets peed on. And then, it's just manic. It's just manic. Why aren't Highpander capping? They need to get players on the cart. Milchman is the only person alive who can really do anything here. Does take down the central. Big jump in from Mentalix.
Wow.
But it doesn't stop the cart.
You know what, I gotta say, if they did not cap the cart right there, I'm sure somebody was going to have a word with Muuki as he was just taunting at the top spawn, trying to get a taunt kill. I think he was so confident of his team capping that he just kept there, just doing the Uber saw taunt, hoping to grab some now there, maybe make it onto the top 10, and it almost was to a top 10 blunder. I mean, that was an extra 20 seconds that the experiment got there, and that's actually all thanks to callecool, who jumped down onto the boxes, jumped onto the cart, denied it, and then with the help of his team to set that up. But if he didn't do that as an engineer, that wouldn't have been a play. And so if the experiment win this game by less than 20 seconds, you can thank callecool for that, and his team kind of following up, and also potentially maybe a little bit of misplay out of Highpander, getting a little bit cocky, not focusing that cart. As you said, it was kind of bizarre about how little people got onto it. I mean, they wanted to camp spawn, but generally the cart's more important. But I mean, ultimately they capped it, but that was incredibly close for them to deny that again, and the experiment having a chance to reset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, callecool didn't have his sentry up, just had to throw his body on the cart, and if your body is on that cart, I think we do have a pause here actually in the pre-game, so we won't be starting just yet. But yeah, Callie just jumping there, just jumping onto the cart. If there's somebody on the cart, you cannot push it, and that's going to stop people from. And we've had Muuki in a taunt situation. I'm not sure if you watched or. Can't remember who casted with me in the Steel game that Highpander played. He was playing Soldier back then. He changed to Medic, I think, in the last couple of weeks. And he, I don't know, Highpander were capping the E point. And instead of protecting his teammates, he just decided he was going to taunt on the point, felt the cap was already done. And then Death, the Ukrainian demo, just came in, killed everybody. And then Muuki got backstabbed just as his taunt finished. So, yeah, maybe you get a little bit of overconfidence. Maybe you're right there. And it's something that kind of, that's the difference. You talk about the difference in kind of low level play, high level play. It's a great idea to camp the spawns. I mean, if you camp the spawns, you can't get players can't get out the spawn doors, and they can't stop the cart. But the players who were still alive, the people like Joe, people like Callie, who are actually blocking the cart, your flank can't cap if there's people blocking it, if there's people chucking stickies down. As we have started the game now, we've got a little bit of skating going on as the effects of the pause wear off. Our Milchman gets the opening pick, takes down Tracker, getting a little bit of revenge there. Might be an idea for Layla to come out. Now she does come out with Joe, and this may be just a straight off push. Sigafoo, as they see no sniper to contend with. So Uber comes out really, really early on, and it is traded between the two players, between teams, and Gorson getting launched into the air, and Experiment are just straight in here. They're just in 5th gear straight away.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. As actually Grenjabob onto the medic, Layla tries to line some pistol shots onto him as Ass is going to come in here. Nobody can hit Layla. Finally, the rockets are going to come in, and Ass finally helps and clears that up as no medic here for their pushing team. But the cart's in a decent spot. But I do like that. It's kind of reminiscent in the NA scene of
Muuki
MTS.
goes down. Sorry to interrupt, but Muuki just gets headshot by Milchman, the sniper, and I don't know. This is a bit of a mistake. I think Zoob is using his conch with Hildreth, and they are staying in trying to defend this first point, but they've got no heals, and they've got no support from anyone else, and they do actually decide to explode their way out of there to get back onto the second point.
And Hildreth actually just stood still there for a second, almost died from the direct hit from Mentalex, which not having a demo man there is not always the best, as the sentry gun's actually inside of the tunnel area. A little bit of an unusual spot, a little unorthodox, but you know, it's pretty good against just an engineer and scout. I mean, that's why holding it down there. But the problem with that gun is if the enemy team takes the hill, they can take out your gun pretty easily, and then you kind of get caught in here. But nobody's actually gone down as Joe's being contested by Hildreth, but he finally got down. Nice headshot, taking down the demo man. So no demo man on defense, no sensor gun to cover the enemy team, and Joe should be able to take out this gun pretty easily, but Zoom's gonna jump in while everybody's distracted. Nice! 2 rockets as XD was looking away, and down goes Layla. Goodness, Zoob has her number today. Nice job. I guess the sentry gun did work out in their favor.
Yeah, look at Justice here. He's coming behind and he's forced the Uber again. Great play by him. Just jumping in from the window and getting a lot of damage down onto Muuki, who has to use it. And oh, he's healing! He's healing Chupa, who gets the Matador stab onto Kunai. And a heavy down for Highpander. Now Hildreth is alive. He does have his medic and he does have Zoob for company. So this isn't still going to be easy for Experiment to push. But oh no, Milchman gets the back. A headshot on the tracker, and that's really going to open things up. And Experiment are just going to walk forward here. They do have the Uber advantage, and they can maybe roll this onto third as Hildreth goes down as well. Milchman is on fire right now. He's getting all of the good picks to open things up, and it's just Kunai and Muuki holding on. But no, Kunai goes down, and it's Milchman again. He is just destroying as he takes down Doom as well. There's 4 players left alive for Highpander. They have to get out onto third. And Tracker finally ends that kill spree from Milchman, and they're going to try and hold third here, but the car isn't being pushed very far forward, and I don't know, it might allow Highpander to come back in here.
Yeah, and that is entirely thanks to Zoob. Not only did he get that medic pick as Layla's actually gets forced off here, is going to grab onto Joe and Mentalex, who are going to try to get forward, but nice job by Highpander getting this force off, but that entire play, while everything was happening inside, Zoob was behind enemy lines, just running around in the tunnels, taking 1v1s, and when as Layla goes down, Ass chases him down, as Uber does get popped off here, as the Highpander might have a chance to reset, but again, Justice in a really cheeky spot, he's going to go into Zoob, does take him down, finally goes down himself to Ass, but the Pyro's going to get onto the cart, I guess, finally the Experiment is going to capture this point, but as I was saying, Zoob, I mean, he was dancing for at least 30 seconds, just taking 1v1s on the cart, taking the kills, and I mean, that's the power of a soldier in Highlander taking good fights in tight spaces against classes like the Scout and Engineer. Like, you're going to win those every time if you're a better player. And when you're going up against Zoob in a 1v1, well, I wouldn't want to be that person. As they're getting Joe here, going to try to take out this sentry gun and get contested. As the Spy's actually in a nice spot, gets blasted there, as Zoob's going to go skybox down on top, takes down Layla. Nice job again by Zoob.
Yeah, Zoob dies. Kratos there as he tries to jump away, but he did his job. He took down Layla. As Hildreth takes down Joe as well, and they are focusing the car. They've got the Engie and the Scout on here. Blidis drops down to the underneath area, and there's some decent kills coming here. Justice takes down Ast, who's been doing a lot of work, getting a lot of kills. Milchman again getting a couple of key kills there. Hildreth and Gorston both going down, and Experiment really needs to start moving a bit faster. Under 2 minutes to go to capture these last 2 points, but he may be able to get third here. I think Highpander are just going to back out to last. I'll focus that as Kunai goes down, and there's only 3 players left alive. Muuki goes down there, Sigafoo, to a pipe from Joe, and he also hams down Tracker. And just as the cap goes down, it is 1 minute and 39 seconds. Uber advantage in the hands of Layla. If they make this push work, this is their round. Hildreth goes down again, this time to Chupa from the Ambassador, and this is all Experiment right now. They're getting the kills, and they're getting the right kills, and they're already on the spawn doors, and oh, this is going to be close. It's theirs to lose.
Yeah, Mentalex did go down there, who was covering up that upper window. Zoob's in actually a really nice spot. He's going to get the force off onto Layla there, who's Joe's going to pop that Uber ×4 onto the cart, as Doom is the only one who's going to try to guard the sentry gun. He's able to keep alive, as the Pyro is actually up the upper window. Joe are both covering the spawns, but Hildreth is going to come out lower. He's incredibly low, but they're going to contest the cart. Callecool is going to get pushed back by the Pyro, as Justice is going to try to do his best to defend this, as Hildreth did go down there with the help, as Goyle's Gorson, Zoop's going to come in here.
Oh, the P on the cart, and Zoop comes in and gets it like a 4K and absolutely destroys everything that was on the cart. And that was literally about to roll in there if that hadn't have happened. And Highpander are just holding on by their fingernail. Sigafoo, 40 seconds left on the clock.
What did Zoom eat today? Because he just took down the medic again behind enemy lines. He just keeps going forward as well. Oh, but there you go. The Girardi comes out in the favor of the offense here, as it was onto the medic. Mental X actually is on the cart. Is this going to go in the favor of the experiment? Takes the first round off the map that Highpander chose 1-1. As we're just in this first map, and it seems like Highpander was in a really good spot today to win this, but I don't know. The experiment definitely came in with a fight, and despite everything Zoop did this round, the experiment take this insane.
I thought experiment had it. I thought it was in the bag, and then I thought they'd lost it after that insane play. Tracker with the Girardi, and then Zoop with the massive bomb took down 3 or 4 players. A great play by him just to stop that cart, like what Mentalex tried to do right at the end there, but was just a split second late. But this time Zoo managed to do it for his team. But then the repush, they're getting the right kills, and it just seems that Highpander are just bleeding players here and there. And okay, so if you lose one player, it's not that big of a deal. But when you lose your heavy, and then you lose your demo, and then you lose your soldier, and it just kind of snowballs into this effect where they got wiped on last defending. Like, that's not something you see very often, especially when you've got the high ground. You've got, these defensive positions, and Experiment played it really, really well. Looking at the logs, this time around, it's Milchman, 27 kills, top fragging across the server. Second highest is Zoob with 19, and then Tuba there with 17. So the Spy and Sniper kind of reversed around. This time it was Experiment's Spy and Sniper who were doing great work behind the scenes. And yeah, 1-1, it's all to play for in this final round of this first map.
Well, and the big thing that stands out to me on the logs is that Muuki's deaths, so the medic for Highpander, 6. The number of deaths for Layla, the experiment, 11. So almost 2-1 in the favor of Highpander. If you just gave me these stats and you asked me who won this round, I'd say it was Highpander, not even close. But they just lost this round despite killing the medic twice as much. And so that tells me that exactly what you're saying is that they are just bleeding players at the wrong time. That they are just like, okay, Zoob goes in, he gets a kill, he dies, yeah, that's great. But then you can't go and die way too many people and give up a round. It's shocking to me how this kind of worked out, because Highpander, if you look at the stats, they look pretty good. Obviously Milchman's having a good game, but still pretty much Highpander has almost all the top frags, only 3. So of the top 9, only 3 of them are in the experiment. They have more deaths on the medic. Somehow they didn't win the round. Like, that is insane. The experiment, they're just playing a better team game, and it's showing through, and it'll be interesting to see if they can continue onto this next point, as we're going to have Highpander sitting out on defense first.
Yeah, so Experiment going to be setting the time, and it is something that Joe said. At the end of the season, he just said, look, you don't need Prem players to do well in Prem. And everyone was like, what? And he's just like, no, he's put a team together. His team is notoriously known for changing its roster very, very regularly. And he put this team together, and it was very different to the team that played in High last season, different to the team that played in UGC Plat. Only a couple of players like Layla, Joe, and Chupa have remained throughout that. But no, he's put this team together, and they do have this kind of coordination, and it is working well for them. And Highpander here are the overwhelming favourites. They have to kind of prove a point here. Obviously, there is a long night to go. We've still got another map at least after this. But for them to win a round here, and to put the first round was very, very close. As Mentalex using that direct hit does take down Tracker, so that's going to open up a sniper pick already. And as we saw in the previous round, that might prompt Layla to come out slightly earlier than she would normally.
And yeah, we already see Milchman getting pretty aggressive onto the roof here. He's going to just try to take some free shots. Again, anybody who's not quite familiar with Highlander, the offensive side, they have such a short respawn that they can take these bad deaths. That's why you generally see suicide waves, and they get pretty aggressive.
Muuki gets body shot by the Machina. He goes down. That is a drop. That is a drop by Muuki. And the Uber comes in onto Joe. He destroys the sentry. Just starts trying to clean up the damage elsewhere. The rest of the experiment are going to come in. Gorson is desperately trying to run away. He's battling Pyro on Pyro. and Joe steps in to help, and he also takes down Tracker as well. So no sniper to contend with, and no NG. Doom is dead still, so there's not going to be any sentry and experiment up flooding forward. This is reminiscent of the first round Sigafoo, where they just kind of rolled forward onto this second point.
Yeah, and they currently have a very slight Uber advantage. It's probably not going to hold through. It's going to be basically even, but the cart's moving in a good way. You don't have Zoob in the back line anymore to just shoot everybody on the cart or that level 3 sentry gun that slowed them down earlier. It's a nice job by Joe taking them out, but Zoob comes in, tries to find something, but Layla is well enough to get away as Zoob goes down there, trying to get out. Chuper's in a nice spot, but he's going to get taken out as Doom goes on to mini sentries, not feeling comfortable on the level 3s, but I think in this spot, you just got to give up the second point. I don't feel like you're in a good spot, but maybe I'm wrong, because here comes in Gorson as Grenjabob gets a nice stab. Uber does get popped off on the offensive side. Muuki's actually might get caught in here. Is he going to be able to get out alive? Finally, the Uber does come off on the defense. Heavy's doing a nice amount of damage, takes down Joe. XC's going to not be able to get out as Ass comes in. Zoob's going to jump in onto Layla, pops her up. She's trying to surf it out. Can he land the second rocket? Layla down to so low. Can he get it? No, he cannot connect. Oh, wait, no, there's Ass from the far hand side. He chased him down all the way. Nice job, and this is going to prompt Highpander to retake that second point. Great job there, just chasing her down.
Wow, that was just Zoob, Ast, and Grenjabob just holding the W keys, trying to take Layla down there. And somehow Highpander have held on to this second point. The cart is just tantalizingly close to that second cap point. But they do have control, and they are using this kind of forward hold here. Muuki in the house. And this has kind of settled things down now. They do have an Uber advantage. 60% for Muuki, only 30 for Layla. Sentry does go down from Doom. I'm not sure where that was. But yeah, Highpander maybe just calming down a little bit now after that kind of chaos that was the first point. And maybe they feel in control as Grenjabob was on a 5 kill streak, takes down Milchman, and maybe he's getting a little bit more focused after his exploits in the previous round. And this is a little bit more dangerous. Highpander wipe here, like they did on the first point, losing up third could be much, much bigger than it would be just giving up first or second. But oh wow, Mentalex gets destroyed, gets body shot in the middle of the air, and Kunai finishes him off. And this is kind of not a stalemate, but just waiting for Experiment to make his move.
And I mean, I think this is a time where you just push with your Uber right there. They do drop a player that's a Pyro in this exchange, actually directly above them. I don't know, Joe knows the medics up there is they did not even have to pop the Uber. They didn't force off, and that's actually a pursuit does go down, who's trying to make a play. The Uber's going to get popped off onto the Heavy here, who's going to try to take down Layla, but takes a little bit long. Justice is going to get killed here pretty easily, as Mentalex and the Scout, I believe, we're trying to push this card, as you said, incredibly close. This is just needs to bring Chup here to take this cart down, as Doom is still on mini sentry guns. Again, not the worst thing in the world, as Chuper's going to try to make a play onto the cart. Doom does see him, he gets to get caught out here, and probably should have took an extra breath there before he tried to make a play onto the cart, as it's going to be a reset here from the Experiment, and they're not looking too sharp right now, as they have not been able to push this point, and it's going to be a fairly long time, as Gorson with a nice frag with Asta with the help of Grenjabob, who takes down Layla again.
Yeah, this is where things start to get a little bit messy. You know, you kind of you have that adrenaline running from the first. You know, you get a drop on the enemy medic and you flood forward and you think, yeah, you know, we're going to do this. And then when it starts to get a little bit kind of stalematey, and then your medic dies again, and you have to deal with an Uber disadvantage, and it just kind of wears you down. So I'm sure the morale in the Experiment camp isn't great at the moment, but Joe is, you know, he said before in interviews, he riles his team up, he gets them going, and I'm sure he's trying to pump them up, saying, we can still do this, you know, have faith. As they do take down the sentry gun from Zoob. And it's just that cart is so close, but they're having players on the cart. And Ass is on an 8 kill streak. He's just going ham right now. He's getting the right kills at the right time, as Layla goes down to another backstab from Grenjabob. And the Uber comes in from Highpander, cleans the rest of the players up. We are going to just reset here, as Ast is officially unstoppable on a 10 kill streak. Kunai on a 6. And it's just these players aren't dying like they were in the first couple of rounds. Sigafoo. They're not bleeding players anymore, and they're kind of holding this a little bit, I don't know, more solidly, more like a team than maybe the first couple of rounds.
Well, they're bending, but they're not breaking, and even like with that Uber that just got popped off, Hildreth was down to about 20 HP before he was finally taken out. It was a nice reflect there as Gorson was getting... Oh, there you go, finally Hildreth does go down. Gorson was able to reflect the first one, so no Devilman here. Doom is sitting on the cart, but finally, I think without a Devilman and a couple players down, Ast again going down, Zoob as well, all of them down, this should be able to push this cart, but again, Ast, I mean, we've seen it before. He is such an amazing player, and when he keeps himself alive, he can do absolute work, as he was on that 10 kill streak. But finally, the Experiment get that point, but 5 minutes and 44 seconds. That is not looking good. That's at best maybe like a 7 to 8 minute time if they continue this pace, but it's probably going to be a lot worse unless they can really keep up anything. But right now they're at about a 10% disadvantage and going to be even, so it'll be interesting to see how the experiment decide to push this.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider both of the end times in the previous rounds was around 6 minutes and 30. This is a very, very slow time in comparison. Only the first 2 points, 5 minutes and 44 seconds. 100% for both medics now, though. So, maybe time for something to happen. As Milchman does open things up, takes down Tracker, so they get a little bit more freedom. As the Uber comes in straight away, very early from the experiment, they're just going to retaliate. But big reflex there from XC, just pushes Hildreth back. He's not going to get much damage done. He does get thrown forward, but Asta takes down Joe, and then Grenjabob butter knifes Layla, shanks her to the ground. Zoob jumps in, he's just going to try and clean up that cart with the help of Ast. This flank is just controlling the cart now. It's not being allowed to be pushed up all the way to the cap point like it was in previous rounds. And it just seems Highpander in a lot more control now. They're much more settled. Maybe it was just at the start of the game, just warming up and getting in control. But now they just seem very difficult to break down, and Experiment are having trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that push right there, that last push between the, both Ubers being popped, I mean, one word to describe that was just poor communication, poor coordination, whatever you want to say it. But, the Trooper came in too late to get the sap down. The cart wasn't in a good spot. You generally want to push in your Uber while the cart's going up those difficult hill spots, because if this, like right now, it's being pushed up the hill, it's not being contested. Fortunately, nobody notices that the cart's being pushed. But you want to do it in these times when it's a little bit difficult. So it's like if they choose to, focus the cart. A nice job by the callecool using this short circuit to defend this, as they're getting a lot of aggression out of the offensive team, but they don't have Uber yet. They have to be careful, as Muuki does have Uber. It looks like they want to pop it off, but no, they're holding on. Finally, it does come off on the defensive side, but actually this Uber on Joe's can be a little bit better, but Gorson doing a nice job pushing him off. The scalp ass does fall into the pit here, as Grenjabob's right behind Layla. Is anybody going to be able to help him out? He's going to try to land some pistols. Layla does keep alive, but the cart's moving up thanks to the engineer sitting on top of that. The gun was sapped, as Doom is still alive, but not going to be able to get this, as Zoob's going to try to contest the cart, but he's going to be all alone, and finally does go down in their favor, but 8 minutes and 14 seconds, and again, just a slow pace for this map, this round for the experiment.
Yeah, another couple of minutes for that third point, but that was really good coordination by Experiment there. They moved in forward, got damage done, forced the Uber, and then used theirs. I liked Bloodis. He got launched up by Sticky by Hildreth into Hildreth's face, and then just heat shot him. And that kind of kill on the demo just opened things up. But Tracker takes down Joe there, and that's going to really stop any sort of push from the Experiment. And now it's just kind of trying to get that car into the final point area. When it's in this choke, it's just so easy to spam it out and block it. Once it's under this kind of sheltered area, it's much more easier to get some cheeky cap time going on. 95% for both medics, dead equal. And it's just about how this next push... I mean, if this next push goes right for the Experiment, then... it's not going to be the worst time in the world. But looking at Zoob, he's running the cow mangler, and he's just doing those right mouse click kind of charge shots at the choke. But oh no, was that another drop?
I believe that was a drop, and that's going to prompt the Uber to be pushed in here onto Joe, as well as the Pyro, as Milchman took down Muuki there, and they're holding this upper area. Nice job, as the sentry gun is going to get built up here again, but is that Layla went down. Gorston from behind. Joe's camping the spot, but Gorston runs right into the stick trap. Dune's going to try to push Joe out of here, but he takes him down as Muuki goes down again. I don't know what he was doing, as that is a complete wipe. Pentakill, as I like to say, as Hildreth's going to try to push out here. He's going to get some damage onto the car, but it's not going to be enough. 9 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm trying to make that a thing. Can I make that a thing? I don't think I can make that a thing. You can make it a thing. You can do it. You can do it. I'll record it, and we can have Quake sounds automatically in our game. I just have to say, Joe was just a one-man machine there. I mean, he went in, did so much damage. Layla died. It was like, I don't care that my medics, I'm just going to keep killing. And then he got that sticky kill from the spawn, piped down Muuki, and then Hildreth came out. I think he was down to about 27 HP or something like that. And then he was just like, I'm just going to pipe you as well. Gave his life to the cause, but that allowed an Experiment to get in. It is a sub 10 time. When you put it in the context, we've had kind of 6-minute times in the previous rounds. It's not that great, but given the fact that it took nearly 6 minutes for them to cap 2 points, I don't think they're going to be too disappointed. 9 minutes and 49 overall, and
you know, hey, if they get a decent defense here, then anything's possible. If they can really just grind it out and get some med picks at the right times, anything can happen. We've seen some really, really good holds on this map before in the past, and I think both teams are warmed up now. They're ready, and hey, this is just the first map. I mean, it's been so close already, and this is the first map.
Yeah, and I mean, the Highpander definitely turned it on that defensive side, though, that at the end there, it looked like the Experiment got a little bit better out of it, so we'll see what happens with the Experiment coming up on defense now, trying to defend the time they set, as Zoob is up on the base jumper with the Beggar's Bazooka. He's going to put down some damage. Nope, I'm sorry, that's a pipe, and you're going to meet it there, as the medic's actually out very... This is a crit streak popped off onto Hildreth, and the medic actually, Muuki, got put down to half HP, and they're not going to get a lot of those crit stickies off here, as again, they try to get cute, but it didn't work out in their favor. Nice job there, this time out of the Experiment, to not pop too early, but pop late enough to be able to just completely shut down that crit Krieg. And it's going to come up a little bit faster, but it'll be interesting to see how they push the cart now, again, on that base jumper.
Yeah, that was what they should have done in the first round. Good play by Joe and Layla there. They waited for the Uber to be used, the crits to be used, and then used their Uber. But it does mean they got some good kills at certain points, and the Uber is still pretty even here. But Joe goes down, and that is huge. XD goes down as well, and Layla is going to take that teleporter and get the hell out of there. callecool is trying his best. His teleporter is tapped. No, he finally goes down. That is heartbreaking. He tried to get out, but the teleporter was disabled. But Layla is at 60%. She hasn't been healing. She's still not healing, actually. It's waiting for someone to spawn and come to closer to her. Waiting for Joe to accompany her on this second point. 100% crits for Muuki. If Highpander can get a good crits here and get some good kills, they are going to get this second. Straight away, it's used on Kunai. She shoots those laser beams. Layla's caught in, but she manages somehow to squeeze out there. But they do get some kills, and look at Justice. He's still on the point. No, what are you doing, Justice? That's
I wanted to see him play.
He's trying to escape, but the Uber comes in from the Experiment, and they may be able to hold this second point if they can get the kills.
Yeah, but look at Hildreth right now. He's right behind Layla. Zoob is up in the skybox, falling down so slowly with that base jumper. Finally lands the rocket that he wanted that entire time. Kunai is going to get taken out here by Mentalex if he can land a rocket. Yes, he does. It's just Doom on the cart, and he should be able to be contested back here as Bloodus is going to push him out. Sentry Gun is up in the lower area, just a mini sentry. And the Sentry Gun for callecool was built back up on third. He's going to bring it up to the second point as it now is able to be defended, which I like out of an Engineer. I don't like them to build too aggressively. It's kind of the way I generally play, and it works on the favor of his Mentalex. Is going to be contested by Gorson here. I don't think he should have came out of that lower area. That put him in a bad spot as Highpander is overtaking the hill. Trooper is going to be on top of this sniper. Actually, no, that's Bloodus. He's going to take down Tracker right there. So no sniper on the offensive side, but Hildreth is still doing a good amount of damage. And Zoob, again, using that base jumper, putting down damage onto that Sentry Gun, but is being kept up by callecool. Nice use of that Rescue Ranger, but this cart should be going down in the favor of Highpander as they're continuing on pushing this. Callie grabs his gun, taking out to the third point, and just a fairly clinical dry push out of Highpander there on that second point.
I think this was a smart decision. You know, Experiment know that Highpander are running crits. They know that they've got a disadvantage. They're only at 80%. Muuki is at 100%. They can just fall back to their sentry. The sentry is going to take more damage from crits. You fall back to that. You can just keep your sentry alive, keep your medic protected. Oh no, sorry, it's Uber. It's actually Uber. It comes in from Highpander. And they try to focus the sentry. It doesn't go down. Kunai got backstabbed before that, but Tracker gets the key headshot onto callecool. Engineer down for the Experiment. That sentry is going to be open to spam now. And this is kind of still a very even fight. Massive fight onto Layla. She's down to 30 HP, but just manages to stay alive. She has her team around her, and the cart is being on one of those kind of slopes now. As you were saying before, Sigafoo, it's really hard to push unless you get some sort of distraction as the spam just gets rained down onto it. And we're kind of at equal Ubers now.
Yeah, and Zoob gets taken out there as a short circuit with Doom onto the cart. He's going to eat a couple stickies, but then he's going to deny a lot more as finally Buzz is going to come down in there, going to try to contest this. But that Uber exchange, I think, came off too early. I think they really should have waited a little bit for that cart to be pushed up, and I think that's a fault a lot of teams run into, where they just are like, all right, we have Uber, let's push. They don't think about the concept of, like, where's the objective right now? And maybe if waiting 20 seconds to let the objective to get into that spot, to get ready to be pushed up to that slope, is a better time to push and exchange those Ubers, because as soon as that Uber exchange exchange was done, that cart was at the bottom of the slope, and, after the Uber exchange, since the experiment had got a little bit better side of it, they were able to deny the objectives from being pushed forward. But here does come the Uber in from Hildreth. The counter pop's going to come onto the Pyro, who's doing a nice job air blasting back. That's actually going to push Muuki out in a good spot, who's going to be able to get away. Doom is on the cart, but he's being contested by Bloodus on the flank side, but Zoom's doing a good amount of damage, trying to deny Justice, who's peeking out here as Zoom's going to actually jump in, trying to use the Market Gardener, getting a little bit too cute, but Bloodus does go down from Ast, who's right now in this backside house, level 3 sentry guns being defended. Nice job by this Pyro, doing a good job of denying the rockets onto it, but Kunai and Hildreth are in a really good spot as he's trying to rain down the stickies onto the gun, but Layla, both the medics at about 50%, not able to do anything. Finally, the sentry gun does go down, and a lot of pressure out of Highpander. They should be able to push him out pretty easily.
Look at Kunai, she just comes in and gets Joe and Layla. That is the experiment combo at the end of the day. And they both go down, which means Muuki is going to have 100% advantage over the experiment. Look at Highpander. They're already in the top area. They've got the high ground. They've got the players in last. It's Justice is on his own. I'm not sure if anyone knows he's here. He is running the Tomislav, so he is kind of silent when he's spun up. And I don't think anyone knows.
No one knows.
Here, and he's just going to gun down Tracker for free. That's a decent pick, actually. But players are bleeding elsewhere for the experiment, and Highpander haven't even had to use their Uber yet. They still have 100% on the floor near the spawn. 4 players left alive for the experiment. Justice is still killing people up top. He still has his high ground. He still hasn't been killed. He's down very weak now. Looks like Grenjabob is going to come up to him, try to get him down. He does use the revolver, but no, he's still going a 5-kill streak as the Uber comes out from Highpander. They're trying to block the spawns, but Joe and Layla are on the top. They're just holding this high ground. Doom finally takes down Justice. But people are pushing the cart this time, Sigafoo, which is the problem we had before, blocking the spawns, but no cap time. But Highpander look like they should be able to get this with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. I think this is a little bit out of Experiment's reach.
Yeah, they're going to need a miracle play to come in here as Doom does go down the cart. When the cart pushers, at least Ass is right now onto it with Grenjabob. They are milked on the cart, so any hope they might have, Mini Cinch is going to try to cover it, but Skull comes in. Bloodus gets 2 kills. It's going to be Muuki on the cart right now. It's not a horrible thing. There you go. Takes him down. Nice headshot by Milchman. The times 1 on the cart, that is Hildreth right now. But again, so many frags. They're going to get a couple up, but it's not going to be enough in time. And there you go. Highpander take it 2-1 on this first map, and probably a little bit closer than what they wanted on this first map that they chose.
Absolutely. I mean, they could well have lost that first round, Highpander. They did lose the second round, and I think the only difference between the two teams in this final round was the second point, and the fact that Layla was dying kind of a lot on that second point when they were pushing, which meant they never had Uber. They were always running into an Uber disadvantage. When you're doing that in payload, you need to get a force and keep your medic alive, or you need to get key picks and then do something with it. Take down the sentry, but it just seemed Experiment took a long time to do something on that second point, even though they got that drop on the first point. You've got to remember that. Milchman got the body shot onto Muuki, he dropped, they were able to push all the way to second, so when you look back at it from that point of view, Highpander did pretty well to get themselves back in and claw back a lot of time on that second point.
They did, and I mean, they ultimately worked out in their favor in Highpander. I mean, the biggest thing, the kind of one disappointing thing I saw at Highpander is they just seemed to get a little bit cocky in that final round, and I kind of almost wanted it to work against them because they just, particularly with Zoom kind of using the base jumper and trying to market gardener people, and Muuki a couple times getting just a little bit using his saw maybe when he didn't need to, playing a little bit just overly aggressive. But I mean, maybe that's what they needed to do. Maybe they needed to get a little bit loose to kind of warm it up, but again, as you said, that second point is really kind of what it came down to in that final round. But it'll be interesting coming into Barn Blitz, which is going to be the choice out of the experiment, to see if they can continue at least keeping it closer. Maybe this will give them the advantage, kind of coming into this round if they have something special up their sleeves for this map, or how they want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the logs for this game quickly, the highest damage was Joe, 487 a minute. He got nearly 2,000 damage more than Hildreth, who was in second. But kills-wise, it was Ast this time who top fragged. So we have a different top fragger each round. And the scout for Highpander getting 29 kills. Second was Tracker with 24, then Kunai with 19, and Grenjabob with 18. So Highpander occupying the top 4 spots there in the killing stakes. So yeah, I mean, that last round, I agree. I mean, Highpander maybe getting a little bit more confident, maybe thinking, fine, that last round was just a blip. Let's just focus on our game. But coming on to Barn Blitz, this map was actually played between these two teams in the regular season. And it actually finished in favour of Highpander, but they won it 2-1, which, understandably would be enough for Highpander today. If they win this map, they are through to the next round. They will be playing Strong Opinions in the next phase of the playoffs. But the fact that Experiment got around on them, Experiment picked this map, and if anyone remembers that game, it was extremely close, and Experiment took the first round. They could well have taken it 2-0. Maybe some people said they should have taken it 2-0, and it was just little mistakes. So if they've ironed out those mistakes, and Highpander maybe not thinking about Barn Blitz too much, because when we look at the map picks, both teams get to ban 2 maps and pick 1 map, and then the higher seed gets to pick the deciding map. So we look at the maps that were picked by the 2 teams. Experiment banned both the 5 CP maps, Gully, Wash and Process, and Highpander banned the 2 Attack Fence maps, which is Gravel Pit and Steel. And then Highpander picked Upward, Experiment picked this map, Barn Blitz, and Highpander decided that Product would be the deciding map. So 2 payload maps. So we saw how close it was on this. Surely some of that kind of knowledge and skill transfers over onto this, as it's essentially the same game mode, even though it's obviously very much different in the play style. But I'm expecting a close game again.
Well, and the thing is if you look back into that last game, right, Highpander won the first round by 2 seconds. And then they lost the second round. So, we very easily could be into this map saying the Experiment up 1-0 coming into this map, and it's their game to win on their own map selection. Obviously, Highpander came up back in that final round, but the Experiment, I'm just excited because they're showing themselves they're not pushovers. I was actually kind of coming into this thinking, all right, it's going to be a pretty big role in Highpander's favor. They're going to come in here and just destroy it, but if I was Highpander, even if I come away with this game in a win, going into the semifinals, I'm going to be a little bit nervous to see if we can continue, your playoff run. They're not playing flawlessly. They're making a lot of mistakes. A couple of their players, Zoob, Ast, are stepping up in particular and making huge play. Grenjabob, of course, he said he top fragged a spy top fragging in Rem. I don't know, in America that's crazy. To be able to do that, but obviously just a bunch of their players are stepping up when they need to, so it'll be interesting kind of coming in here. And is there kind of any strategies that the EU side, kind of what's a traditional strategy from each point? Are you asking me to
reveal my strategies, Sigafoo?
Just if you could, for me, for good old Sigafoo.
It's not a map Americans play, is it? Because it's not been in the map pool for many seasons.
Yep.
I was playing a pickup, and there was a couple of Americans there, and we talked about having the sentry outside, and they were like, "What? We always had the sentry inside the barn." Generally, we have the sentry outside on the first point, quite far back, and the combo holds kind of outside here. You hold the roof, the upper area on second, on third. The last point, it was always cool, kind of payload last, because of how hard it was to push the last point. The fact that we've now got an area which people just basically call new flank, because it's a new flank area, and that's just what it's been called. It opens up a lot of opportunities, opens up a whole new cyber sight line, opens up kind of flanks for people to get behind the combo, which traditionally they hold on the top area. And this stairway, which leads to the top area, has been widened. So it's much more difficult to hold, as you can't just kind of spam down a tiny choke. So last point is still the point where you can get a hell of a lot of time. We do still see kind of maps go 2-3 minutes on the first few points, and then get held for 5, 6, 7 on the last, or maybe not even get capped at all. But I still think it's easier, and who knows? We've got Highpander in the blue this time, attacking first with Experiment in the red, and I expect. Looking at the odds on Saloon, it was about 85% for Highpander. If you're watching this game and you had no knowledge of these teams, you would probably think it would be 50-50, the way that these two teams are playing. So I highly expect Experiment to get, around here at least.
And we'll see what they can do as the Experiment's life is on the line. They lost the first game 1-2 or 2-1 in the favor of Highpander. So Highpander looking to close it out here on Barn Blitz, not taken into the third map of Product. Highpander's going to be starting out on the offensive side 6 seconds until the gates are down. It'll be interesting to see what they want to do. Trooper sitting on this left-hand rocks with the cloak and dagger, getting ready just to give his team some information. As you have the sentry gun in the far back, and Der Milchman on the cart path looking to try to get an early snipe off, but not able to connect anything on his first shot here, as Gorston is pushing up through the boxes, trying to wait for a play. Zoob's going to jump in here with getting the base jumper and the direct hit, getting some damage down, but the short circuit doing a good job denying any of these long-range rockets. Ass is going to be jumping in here with, that is the, soda popper, or not the soda popper. What is that? What? The bonk. There you go. That is what it's called. I don't see it too often, but it worked pretty well. The sentry gun does go down, but both medics still holding on to Uber.
Yeah, but the sentry going down there, I mean, Callie was doing a great job. Not using the Wrangler, which is an interesting choice, using that short circuit, like you pointed out. Milchman there getting a couple of kills, but does go down. Tracker getting the headshot. So that's going to open things up for the sniper. No sniper to contend with for Highpander, as they use the Uber straight in slightly earlier than the experiment. XD is going to get most of the Uber, trying to push people away, but Highpander do have control of this upper area now, and I think Experiment are just going to cut their losses and get back. That level 1 sentry is going to be pulled back by Callie to take on to the second point, and that's not too bad. I mean, you're pretty much going to allow the first point to go down that quickly, 1 minute and 10 seconds. As long as you get a good, decent hold on the second point, this is where you can get quite a lot of time as Grenjabob gets caught out and gets a rescue ranged to the ground. And yeah, Experiment not looking too badly here.
Yeah, Gorston comes in there trying to make a flank play. Zuba's going to jump in here with the rocket launcher. He's switching up every single time I see him. He's got a different rocket launcher, it seems, as Hildreth just trying to push up down this stairs side as the entire combo's on the cart path right now. Zub again jumping in, but it doesn't matter because everybody's on to this third point. As they lost a lot of players. Joe is still up, as well as the medic, and the callecool is building up here again. Joe comes in with the base jumper, but he's going to get denied as he finds that level 1 sentry gun sitting around the corner. Joe's going to finally meet back up with the medic as his Ass is going to come in here with the bonk, taking some of the shots, but he's not able to get close. As Kunai getting a little bit caught out here. He's going to go, or she's going to go down, excuse me, as Grenjabob in a really nice spot. He's going to be able to get the backstab on the Layla. Nobody sees him. Yes, he does. And the sap, as he's going to try to take down the sentry gun, but no support. He goes down, but taking down the medic, I think that is good enough. As 100% Uber is sitting here with Muuki, as Zoob's going to try to take out the sentry gun with the help of Hildreth.
Muuki goes down! Another drop for the Highpander medic, and it's Milchman again. Seems to be getting so many med picks this game. He headshots Muuki. That's not going to make much difference on this third point. The only thing stopping them at the moment is the sentry and Milchman. As Callie does go down, his sentry is unprotected. It's not going to stop the cap going down. But no, the rest of the experiment do come in and block that cap. They do have an Uber advantage, but they've only got 5 players left alive. This is very, very dangerous for them. If they get wiped here and give up blast that quickly, could go down, as Ass does take down the sentry. He's been hiding out in lockers, using that bonk to get behind and just spamming shots. He is on the medic, but gets spotted by XD. He's going to be pushed back. Highpander, I think, are just going to dry push this now and just force their way into the third point, as that cart is tantalizingly close, so very close to being capped. And Layla goes down again. This time it was to Zoob.
Yeah, Zoob doing just with his trademark bombs. I mean, I feel like Zoob could TM that because he does it every single time.
Point. Sorry. Oh, I'm not sure who is lagging out, whether it's me or you, Sigafoo. But I'm going to try and talk nonetheless. But yeah, Experiment here really need to get some sort of decent hold. Muuki has 100% advantage once again. Layla holding down on the floor as the Uber is used by Highpander. Comes in from with Hildreth, and he's just going to jump up to the top, trying to get Joe. Lands a sticky. Joe is so weak, but he has Layla for company. But Layla gets piped down, but 3 players left alive for Highpander.
Wow.
I don't know what happened there. So many kills came in from other players. What happened there, Sigafoo? Who got the kills for the experiment?
Yeah, so that was basically a mixture of Justice and I believe Mentalex, if I saw that correctly. But basically, the biggest thing was Justice stayed in that upper area. I mean, that's the biggest thing with this final point, is you need everybody to come through every single spot. It's kind of like when you leave last, you want to check every single area. You know, you want to make sure everybody goes everywhere. Well, that's kind of what you want to do when pushing into this last point. Justice stood above. He had high ground, and he just put out damage. Nobody contested him. Literally nobody shot him as he just rained out that heavy damage and just shut down that entire push because everybody's constantly taking damage from behind. So nice job by him. Justice continually has been hiding, but Layla goes down. Gorston just running in there, and people say Pyro was nerfed, and there you go. He's proving them wrong as Joe's trying to dance for his life, but Zoob's going to shoot at his feet one too many times, and there you go. This should be Highpander's point if they push it correctly. Mentalex is still in the upper lockers area, but he's being spotted. He's being contested, and he should go down. His ass is going to be running at him, but this card's being pushed pretty easily here as Highpander should take it.
Yeah, Justice has spawned with XD and Layla. and they have to just run onto that point. Justice using the Fists of Steel. That's going to buy a few more seconds onto the clock. 5 minutes and 5 seconds is a very fast time, Sigafoo, especially for this map. And like I said, that last point was given up fairly easily, and it shows on that stair area. Gorston just running in and just flare punching Layla to the ground. I mean, it kind of allows that sort of play with that wider stair area. So Experiment, I mean, I asked the same question to you as I did in the first round of Upward. Do you expect any medic shenanigans coming out of the Experiment on this attack?
Well,
do you think we're going to see any crits?
I don't think so. They haven't done. I mean, it's kind of the medical experiments have been actually coming from Highpander, whereas the experiments have been playing pretty conservatively. I mean, pretty normal. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, to run crits. I mean, my entire Highlander career, I don't know if I've ever ran crits on offense. I mean, it is that rare. But it can work out in your favor. I mean, I definitely have seen other teams do it, as we saw Highpander did in the first round, but I think they will be playing it pretty traditional. I mean, it'll just be a question of can they do it 5 minutes and 5 seconds. And, I mean,
sorry to
that's a pretty
interrupt
fast
you,
time.
but you're forgetting that this is the Experiment, this is Joe. Joe and Layla and crits is just... It's a match made in heaven.
That's what they're doing right now. They're doing
now.
They have crits right now, yeah.
They have crits, and I'm fully expecting them to just run crits non-stop now on this attack. They are the team that runs the crits the most out of everyone in Prem, but Tracker there taking down Mentalex, and the Uber comes out from Highpander. They do what the Experiment did on Upward. They clean up a hell of a lot of kills, and Layla back in spawn now, still on the crits Krieg, and she's going to have an advantage if she can build this well, and they really need to get kills with this and start kind of barreling forward.
Yeah, and there you go. Zoob did go down. Justice again doing a lot of work this game. I'm really impressed with this heavy playstyle as Grenjabob takes down Layla again, as well as Bloodis. Goodness, Grenjabob is just doing absolute work as well for Highpander, as the cart's not even pushed up to the house yet. Level 3 Sentry Gun still sitting up there as we have Muuki sitting at 43% on that Uber charge. And it should be coming in pretty easily. A lot of frags, again, coming out in the favor as Zoob's going to jump in on to putting down some damage. Still, the Crits Creek is coming out as Layla's building up right now, but the Uber is going to come out sooner as Muuki's sitting at about 70%, but a lot of aggression coming out here finally from the Experiment. Joe's trying to push up here, but Zoob's coming in over the top, gets one rocket down to Layla. Layla down so incredibly low, down to 18 HP, but the cart gets capped throughout all of that chaos, and that's probably going to prompt the backup of Highpander.
Yeah, at the moment, Bloodis is just the cap man. He's getting these caps. Which is putting pressure, but Ast is the killing man as he does take down Layla, and Muuki does have 100%. Highpander backed all the way off to second. They have a level 3 sentry, they have their medic up in the high ground with 100% Uber. They have most of their players alive. Kunai, the only combo member, not with the rest of them. She respawns in a couple of seconds, and this is the problem. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you keep losing your medic on the offense, then you just struggle because you keep not having successful pushes. You get in this situation where you can't have a successful push until your medic is back up. Tracker on a 9 kill streak here, just doing so much, finally goes down. Mentalex just basically trading his life to take down the sniper, which isn't too bad. On this second point, the sniper sightline from the stairs is very, very strong, and it's all about what they can do. They're trying to come in from behind here. XD does go down to Kunai, and yeah, 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. It's starting to look very unlikely.
Yeah, they're going to have to play something perfect, though. Justice does kill that Sentry Gun before this Crits Creek does even come off. Counter Uber does come off onto Hildreth. They're not even dropping down. Actually does finally get pushed down. No, he's actually going to surf that to keep himself up on top, keeping that high ground as Grenjabob's on the cart, trying to get a kill onto Joe here. He's trying to find something, and no, he's just going to find the shotgun of callecool and finally dies as Zoob sitting with that Beggar's Bazooka is going to get killed in that L section. As Tracker sitting onto the cart, trying to get some snipes off. Nice job with that short circuit. Level 1 Sentry Gun goes back up. It's going to Mentalex is trying to find some kills, not able to find anything, but the cart does find the end of that second point. And there we go. Nice job there by the flank, pushing that cart as Layla went down in that exchange. But Muuki stays alive at 60%.
Yeah, Muuki almost died there. Bloodis got the cap and then just ran behind the combo. callecool just focusing on the cart, getting the cart all the way out onto this green area. But Highpander playing on the floor, they have the Uber advantage. Muuki very, very low here. Needs to be careful. Mentalex trying to spam rockets, and that's going to force him to back off. And Highpander are going to have to back off here, do a little bit more of a passive hold. Starting to look very unlikely. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. I'm sure Experiment's minds are already on the the next round and what they can change in the future. So later goes down to Grenjabob again, keeps getting a lot of med picks. Ham kill coming in from Joe, just takes down Tracker. This is basically just a DM fest now. It's pretty much impossible, I think, for Experiment to capture this last point. But no, the backstab comes in from Chupa. Was that another drop? I'm not sure.
It was not a drop, but it's very close.
Oh, okay. But yeah, 1 minute left on the clock. I think. I mean, what went wrong there? What did the Experiment do? Was it all down to that defense?
I mean, yeah, I think really the Experiment, with only having 5 minutes to work against, you're basically having to play perfectly, and they just weren't able to do it. The Kritzkrieg, they tried to play it out, but it wasn't able to find anything. As Zoob trying to make a play into Layla, nice job there by the Engineer to deny Zoob's bomb in. Maybe that will become the new meta here, with a Short Circuit being unbanned, at least in UGC, but ETF2L is headed for 1 season. Level 3 is still alive, but yeah, I mean, kind of what I saw here is we're coming into the closing moments of this first round in the favor of Highpander, which just, yeah, I mean, they just weren't able to ever kind of seem to get their feet underneath of them, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, kind of what did you see out of the defensive side, out of the Experiment, that you felt like they could have improved upon, as you've played this map far times than I have?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it wasn't too map specific. I think it was payload. I think it was just the fact they didn't get out at the right times. The key thing about payload is that you need to know when to sacrifice the point and think we're not going to hold this anymore and get back onto the second point. And they did that on the first point. First point, they lost a couple of players. They traded the Ubers and they were like, okay, we're just going to get back onto second now. They had a decent hold on second. They had everybody up there, the sentry up and everything. But then, I don't know, they bled a lot of players and they still tried to hold on to the second point, which meant the third point they had less players to hold it, and then Highpander just managed to push in, do exactly the same, get the odd killer here and there. Experiment didn't get out. By the time they got onto last, they had one really good hold, and then it all kind of fell apart when Gorston had that huge play where he just killed the Layla, the medic, with a flare. So, I don't know, I just think it was more positioning. If they had the right positioning on each points, then I think they'd been a bit harder to break down, but Highpander just seemed to know exactly when to push and what to do at the right times.
Yeah, and just looking through the logs right now, Layla has died 10 times in that first round compared to Muuki's 5. So again, Layla doing about double the deaths of her counterpart of Muuki, and that's never been working on your favor. As I said, when the Experiment won the round, when Layla died twice as much, I was shocked by that. But apparently this time it finally does come out in the favor of Highpander. Looking at the stats, trying to see what else kind of stands out to me. Obviously, Tracker was on that 9 kill streak on defense, which was just absolutely insane. He killed 3 people in just rapid succession who were trying to push the cart. But the closest, so he ended up at 18 frags. The closest person to him was actually Justice the Heavy for the Experiment, who I kind of pointed out was having a good game today, and he continues to kind of show that as he is getting out the frags. But I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, I mean, the players are stepping up, but I'm kind of wondering, who do you think needs to step up on the Experiment side to be able to try to help them kind of push this game into their favor, as they are currently on their last leg now?
I don't know. It's difficult to say who's doing anything wrong. I mean, I said at the start, Chupa, I think, would be opening up a lot, and he has been getting decent picks. Milchman has been doing well for them as well. He's been, especially on that second round on Upward, he got a lot of kills, and he's been doing decently here as well. I just think it's, I don't know, general coordination. Justice, you said, has been doing well, and I think, yeah, there has been moments where he's been in good positions, and he's used that kind of Tomislav, not secrecy, but the fact that it's silent to great effect, and he stayed in positions where he shouldn't have been left and allowed to stay alive, but managed to get a lot of kills and do a lot of damage. I just think that maybe the coordination of the combo, maybe the calls, I don't know. It just seems that they're doing what Highpander did in the first couple of rounds and bleeding players at the wrong time, which is allowing Highpander to just take advantage of that and walk in.
Well, one thing I'm just seeing here in the logs, and it kind of really, it's shocking. It's so shocking. I'm kind of wondering if the logs are wrong, but Bloodist for that entire round got 1 kill. 13 deaths, compared to Ast, who got 13 kills and 6 deaths. Obviously, Ast, incredible scout, had a good game, and everybody has kind of their off rounds, but to only come down with 1 frag, and also only put out under 1,000 damage, which the closest person to him is about 2,300, and that is an engineer. So I don't know what happened with Bloodist that round. Maybe he was just trying to make plays, maybe he's focusing on pushing the cart, or kind of like why he just kind of had an off round there, but definitely, if he can step up, I mean, that might help balance it out a little bit. But as you said, I don't think there's any particular player besides maybe him who kind of had an off round that it just kind of that general teamwork. And I don't know if have you been in these situations before where you're kind of like, your back's against the wall and you need to kind of push out? I mean, kind of what's the atmosphere do you think Joe's kind of pushing in there? As you said, he's always trying to get everybody riled up. Do you think he's going to get people riled up enough to get into this next round that they can at least get a chance to get to the third map?
I think so. I think if anyone can, is Joe. I mean, his team has done very, very well this season. Let's remember they were a high team last season. They didn't actually make the playoffs. They had to go through the preseason playoffs in order to qualify for Premiership. And so far this season, they've done well. And the fact they even made the playoffs, there was the change to the playoff format so that it allowed 4 teams instead of 3. And a lot of people expected the 4th team to be fair enough, a team that always misses out on the playoffs by 1 spot. And once again, fair enough, missed out on the playoffs. It was Experiment who took it, basically on the head-to-head, because Experiment beat fair enough over the course of the season. And they've taken points off of Highpander. They've done well, and they should be proud of their season, whether they lose here today or they win. But I think Joe is going to be saying to them, look, we can beat these guys. Play as a team and we can beat them. And, our season won't finish. And I'm sure everyone's going to be thinking the same thing. I'm sure morale is going to be low, but I'm sure he's doing the best thing he can. And maybe, like you've been saying a couple of times, Highpander getting a little bit overconfident, maybe Experiment can take advantage of that and think, hey, maybe that's going to allow them to make some mistakes, and that's just going to allow us to get around and, get their foot in the door back into this tie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Experiment really need to do it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as you start to lose, it can be hard to pull yourself out of that. Like, it can be hard to mentally stop making mistakes, stop being too cocky, and it'll be interesting to see if the Experiment, because basically after that round that they lost, they have not looked particularly great any part of the game. They're coming out here, they're going to be sitting the time, they're not trying to work against a 5-minute time. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually prop themselves up again, to see if they can maybe use Highpander playing a little bit too cocky, as you said. I think Experiment can do it. I really, truly believe they can. They've shown themselves. It just, can they pull themselves out of it, as the gates are going to be opening up here, and I'll let you take the initial call.
Yeah, so we've got Experiment in the blue now. So, opening pick there from Milchman takes down Zoop. So that's going to take away one of the players that can spam the cart. So they're going to be able to walk up much further than they would normally. And they are running Kritzkrieg. In comes Joe and Layla. Looking at this ramp, Ast has gone down as well. And if this Kritz is going to come in and can land a kill on something important, it does come in. That first stick he comes over, doesn't land onto anyone, but it does force the Uber. Mentalex jumps up onto this top area, landing rockets onto the sentry. But it is going to be Rescue Ranger, but there are some kills coming down here. Chupa gets the backstab onto Zoo, and Gorson's gone down as well. So with this Kritz advantage, maybe Highpander are going to think to get out here. They are playing very passively behind the ramp, and not too bad from Experiment, as they do manage to get the kill, Sigafoo.
Yeah, that is... I'm surprised about how little... I mean, I know the first point isn't something you want to hold on to, but Callie... Cool, just nobody even contests him. Nice job by Trooper, though. That's really what opened up that cart pushing, is because Trooper took down about 3 people on the flank. I think he took down the Soldier twice and the Scout once. Two people basically assigned to make a play on the cart, and the Engineer doing a nice job there as they are backed up onto the second point. Grenjabob sitting very far behind, still on the first point, looking to make maybe a play on the medic here, as a Kritzkrieg's coming up at 90%, but the Uber charge is at 99, so they're going to be able to defend themselves unless they catch him by surprise. Only Ass is watching this lower side. The sentry gun did go down, but already being built back up.
Grenjabob comes in, takes down Joe, and that's going to mean the Kritz isn't going to come out onto anyone else. It's always going to be Joe, and that's bought them time. That's bought them at least 20 seconds before Joe gets back into position. And one thing that surprised me, Sigafoo, is the fact that Muuki got his Uber before Layla got her crits. Obviously building very effectively, even though crits is supposed to build faster. So we are going to see the crits come out from Joe. He does use it. First stick he comes out and doesn't actually get anything. The Uber is used. In comes Zoob, gets lots of damage down, but doesn't get any kills. But Layla did survive, so if she can build this effectively, they're going to have an advantage. But she is very, very passive, very, very far back.
Yeah, I mean, well, the only person who was forward with her was a sniper who went down pretty easily, throwing actually a crit Girardi. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, a crit Girardi, but it didn't land anybody there to follow up the damage. The cart's slowly moving backwards right now as Joe's changing positions to this upper area. Looks like they're going to try to peek out from the corner. I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, this kind of comes back to just whereas like. I can understand if you want to play the Crits Creek play to make something cute as Grenjabob almost with a 3K right there takes down the sniper and engineer. But I feel like just use Uber. Like, why get so cute? You know, if it's not working for you. But I guess, you know, XD making a nice play there takes down Hildreth, so no Devilman on the defense side. Level 3 Sentry Gun is still alive. Engineer still up as well as Layla goes down Tracker with a nice headshot. And we're going to have 85% here for the defensive medic. Muuki sitting at that. And I don't know. I feel like Crits Creek, like, it sounds good in theory, but if it's not working, just switch to Uber. Play practically. Like, just play normally. It's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, Layla has respawned with the minigun, so maybe she's in tune with your thoughts, Sigafoo, and she agrees and she's changed. Or maybe it was Joe who made the decision, I don't know. But this is the thing, you've got to keep Layla alive now. You need to keep her alive, force Muuki, kill Muuki, something like that. And then use that advantage to come in, because this point is very, very difficult to push if you don't have some sort of advantage. With that level 3 up, the NG in a safe position, Sniper watching on the stairs, Medic in a safe position, that dispenser on the stairway behind means nobody can get him from behind unless they destroy that dispenser. It's a very, very safe place, and it looks like Joey's going to try push from this area up top. Oh no, he gets headshot by Tracker somehow. And it's kind of these picks slow things down and just make it very demoralizing as Grenjabob comes in. This time gets caught by XD. And Chupa does take down Hildreth though, so maybe this is the time to move with both Hildreth and Tracker dead.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they want to do, but they need to do it quickly. And here comes Uber off onto Joe. He's going to try to focus down the Sentry Gun, which is being wrangled right now. A lot of heals coming out. The Heavy gets a counter over. He's going to drop down. Q-Knight gets one kill right there, taking down the Engineer, but XD is going to get taken out from behind. Sentry Gun finally goes down with the help of that direct hit from Mentalex, who's going to drop down onto the cart, trying to chase the Buttis all the way behind enemy lines, but not able to secure a kill as the second point still being held up, but Q-Knight down to so low, and the heals are still coming out. Muuki is still alive, holding in this back stairwell area. They can't really decide if they want to stay in or get out, but the level 1 Sentry Gun is back out as Ass so far gets a kill, trying to get some more kills, but he's going to get stuck there with the Sentry Gun and runs into 3 people right there as Joe went down. A nice job by Ass with that 3K as we have, what is that, Zoob again on the Cow Mangler getting cute.
Yeah, great play by Mentalex though. He was fighting Kuna, landed a couple of directs which forced her to back off, and he just kind of stood behind, then Doom walked through, didn't realise he was behind him. Mentalex just walked face to face and killed him, sacrificed his life to take down the Engineer, so no sentry on that second point, allowed Experiment to push it much easier, and they have used their Uber. Muuki doesn't have it yet, he's at 90%, runs towards lockers, and the kills do come in. Joe takes down Doom, so no sentry, and the Uber is used by Highpander. They flash it so many times, and Joe jumps in, and somehow is still alive somewhere.
What?
And what is going on, Sigafoo? There's 3 players left alive for Highpander. How do you drop your entire team after an Uber?
I have no idea, but they are doing just that as Justice. I mean, it was kind of a mixture of Justice hiding, Tracker, I'm sorry, not Tracker, but the sniper, that is Der Milchman, taking down some shots, and then Joe coming in over the top. It just split the focus, and I guess there's no focus calls coming out in Mumble of who do you want to kill, and they ended up just dying themselves here, as they're actually putting up a decent time now, 5 minutes and 47 seconds through the first few points, and actually at about a 40 to 50% Uber advantage, depending on how they build it. Mentalex sitting up in this lockers area is the new flank side. Actually, Joe gets a couple kills here, takes down Grenjabob and Doom, so no Sentry Gun is going to be up on this final point as they have Uber Charge ready to go, sitting at 95%. They're taking over this upper area, and it's looking pretty good for them.
Only 3 players left alive now as the Uber comes in from Experiment. Muuki is on just crossbowing stuff, is actually running the quick fix. He's going to get caught out by Joe, no, runs away, tries to reconnect with people up top. Tracker is here watching the car, gets 2 rockets to the face, courtesy of Mentalex. And Muuki finally goes down to Justice, but no one's pushing the cart. This is the thing. Respawns come in 3 seconds. If those respawns do something, it is Kunai, Zoob, and Hildreth. And those are 3 big, meaty players. They can deal out a lot of damage. Ooh. Doesn't matter, though, because Joe had a sticky trap there and takes them down. And 7 minutes flat for the time is not too bad. I mean, that's still a fast time for this map, Sigafoo. And I don't know, it's been reversed. Pressure is now onto Highpander.
Yeah, I definitely got to agree with that idea. Is that it is on the Highpander now. That is a decent time, especially for that final point. I mean, they basically rolled. After that, second point, they took that down. There's a little bit of exchange on third. The craziness that happened with Highpander popping the Uber and then losing all their players, but really nice job. I have to say, just a really nice push on that final one, able to take it down. I think a lot of teams, when they win a fight, they tend to die after they win the fight on that final point because they tend to cluster up. And the experiment did a nice job of spreading out, getting their damage spread out, so you couldn't kill all of them at once. They're able to take the 1v1s, focus down players they needed to, and just really, I mean, just a really, like, if you want to watch like a nice final push there after you have advantage, like, right there is a great highlight reel as they're going to come up on this defensive side and defend their 7-minute time. And I don't know, what are your kind of thoughts now? You've seen the experiment put up a push, especially once they switched over to Uber, it seemed to work out in their favor.
Yeah, you were correct. I mean, using that Uber and just playing kind of traditionally seemed to work out for them. And right now, I think the question is, are they going to choke? They just need to play it smart. They need to play it smart. If they get out the points at the right time, they don't, drop key players at the wrong times. They play it smart. They've got this round in the bag. They just need to, not lose Layla. They need to not drop Layla. They need to get a good defenses on each of the points. Milchman there taking down Tracker, so that's a good start. But XD does go down, and no Pyro. Look at Gorston. Gorston's allowed to. And look at Grenjabob. Layla's healing Grenjabob. He's facing her. She's down to 50 HP and does use the Uber. Uses the Uber onto Milchman, and he's just going to have to run away here as Zoob takes down the sentry. And this is just mistakes here. I mean, this is really disappointing. Muuki now has 100%. Callie is chased up to the top, and he's going to have to build a new sentry from scratch. And what happened there? I mean, Gorston was allowed to walk up and just get 2 kills for free.
Well, As popped his bonk, he ran behind enemy lines. That forced Callie to pull the sentry gun back, which then allowed the free space because Joe was the furthest one forward. Joe can't take out a Pyro 1v1 usually, or I mean, it can be hard for a dumb man to do that. Gorston ran up because Joe was alone, no sentry gun covering him. Gorston's allowed to get a lot of free kills. Here comes Uber off onto Hildreth, trying to take down. There you go. Joe goes down. Sentry gun is still alive. Nice job. Kelly actually grabs at the last second as Hildreth is incredibly forward. He actually drops down onto Hildreth, but Hildreth wasn't looking. He should go down here as Ass is chasing him. As wow, so many forward already onto this third point. Chooper is behind them, and Layla, Justice, and XD are behind them. I don't know if they're going to be able to get out alive. They are Blackhawk down.
They have their
should
Uber.
Die here.
They have their Uber, and I don't know if they wait for the respawns. They do use the Uber onto XD, and Justice gets a couple of kills, and Muuki goes down as Joe does come in from the other side, takes down Zuba's one. They're just cleaning up the kills. 2 players left alive. It's just Kunai, who is just a respawn now, and I don't want to say well played, but Highpander I don't think had any idea that the experiment combo was still up top with 100% Uber, and they just waited for their respawns, coordinated some sort of push, and wiped Highpander there. And they're able to reset and rebuild on this second point. Callie is building his level 1 now. Does get taken down by Zoop. He's still running that direct hit. And Joe is down, but they might want to get out here as they are starting to bleed players. But they are well back into this game here. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to go as Muuki goes down to a backstab from Chupa, but Gorston trades and takes down Layla. And this is just Frag City Sigafoo. It's just DM at the moment. And I think Experiment aren't going to be able to hold this third point.
Yeah, Ast actually ran, so while all that was happening, Ast was on the third point taking a 1v1 against Callie, who was getting his sentry gun up. Nice job by him. And we have actually Bloodus sitting inside of this house by himself right now. Be interesting to see if he can make any play. As Highpander is pushing up onto this third point. Zoob is actually going to try to jump in and make a play onto Layla, trying to find some rockets, but not able to find any damage. He gets taken out pretty easily. Chooper is currently behind the enemy team as well as with Bloodus, so it seems like they're trying to coordinate a play. Third point is going to go down in the favor of Highpander with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the clock, and it's looking like their game to win right now. As, again, Bloodus is still there. He's going to finally just opt to back out.
Oh, no, Chupa! Chupa sneaks in and gets a backstab onto Muuki. And that is going to give a big Uber advantage to Layla. She's at 80%, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's, what, 3-4 pushes maybe from Highpander? And that pick onto Muuki is huge, as it's just going to delay Highpander now for a little bit longer. And this is still all to play for. I think, this last point can be held for a long, long time. We saw at LAN, this last point was held for a long time by some of the teams. And, yeah, I mean, we just don't want to see Layla drop or die or anyone else get picked by just... Look, here comes Ast with the bonk. That's going to be the distraction, but nobody is falling for it. He's just going to get blocks there by the sentry. Tracker does take down Justice though, so that's going to open things up a little bit. But Hildreth gets taken down by Bloodist in return. He's on a 3-kill streak. Oh, look at Zoop! Zoop just walks in with the direct hit and forces Layla. And that's exactly what I was saying shouldn't happen, Sigafoo.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, in terms of why Zoob was allowed to be uncontested. So Zoob came up into lockers. He literally stood directly above Layla, stood still, shooting down direct hit rockets onto Layla, and nobody shot at him. I mean, I understand that somebody should be up in, I believe that was Mentalex who got taken down in lockers, but somebody needs to contest that. I mean, Zoob did not, that was not a surprising play he made. He telegraphed it very far ways away that he was coming that way, and still nobody did anything to defend her. Now Layla is set 60%, so they have a chance if they can play this correctly. As Muuki is coming up the stairwell right now, looks like they are at 100% ready to rock and roll, push through this upper area. Actually, which way do they want to go? Kunai, they're looking a little bit indecisive, and that's just giving time as Uber does get finally popped off onto Hildreth. He comes into this final point, focusing down Joe, who's down incredibly low. Finally lands that last rocket. Layla's running up into the stairwell with Justice, 88% on this medic. Trying to heal Justice, who does get the frag. Hildreth is still up there trying to contest him. Justice finally goes down. Layla at 99% gets 100, gets Uber popped off onto Callie. They're going to try to defend this cart. The life is on the line here for the experiment as they need to defend this cart if they want to stay alive. XD comes back up, and what are you seeing right now, CeeJaey?
It's 3 seconds until some more spawns, but Highpander are all over the cart, and they are just going to push that in. There is no chance for it to be stopped, and that is going to be 2-0 to Highpander on this map, which means they take the second map, having taken the first as well. They are through to the next round, and they will play Strong Opinions in the semi-final of these playoffs. And Experiment, unfortunately for them, will be finishing in 4th place.
They put up a good fight, at least. I mean, they definitely had, moments of looking pretty good.
Absolutely, they have everything to be proud for. They were a team that, along with Strong Opinions, had to go through the playoffs to actually get into Prem this season. They managed to do that. A lot of people said to them, it was basically Joe and co. It was Joe and a bunch of other players he'd thrown together. That has shown to be not the case. There has been some excellent performances from the other players on the team. We saw today Chupa, Milchman, Mentalex all doing great work, as well as many of the other players. And to finish 4th in your first Premiership season is no mean feat into the playoffs, and to go that close. I mean, Highpander are a team that they formed before season 5. They've played in every Prem season since season 5, and every season they finished in the top 3. So that trend continues for them. They'll finish at least 3rd, because even if they lose in the next round, that will be 3rd place for them. So to come up against a team with that much experience, and still, go toe-to-toe with them and basically, nearly win. If Experiment have won this off the back of some of those rounds, we probably wouldn't have been too surprised based on those performances. So yeah, they've got absolutely everything to be proud for.
Yeah, so congratulations to Highpander, meeting expectations. As you said, they were about, 80%, as you said, on Saloon. So despite it looking like more like a 50-50 in the first couple of rounds, they came up to finish off at 2-0 here on Barn Blitz, not even need to go into the 3rd round of Product, which, as you said, would have been an interesting map because they did not seem to be play too great on Koth, and they'll be meeting up, and I believe they'll meet your team, correct? Strong Opinions?
That's right, yeah. We'll be playing against Highpander at some point this week, I expect.
Yeah, so that will be an exciting matchup. Sadly, I will not have you next in the casting chair. Hopefully I'll get a chance to cast that match as well. Are we going to be doing any interviews today? Did anybody come in here?
I'm waiting. Normally we have some people jumping in. I'm expecting Hildreth to jump in, and maybe Joe, someone like that. So maybe if we stall for a little bit longer. I mean, on that round there, that last round, what did you see was kind of the turning point? Because we said that was a fairly fast time for the experiment. And then Highpander just, went and beat it with, nearly a minute to spare. I mean, what was the key turning point in that, or was it just, just general good play?
Well, what it really felt like mostly came down to, or a big reason that it came down to, was Ast, in particular on the offensive side. His continuing bonking behind the enemy team, and then Ast, I mean, he's just a phenomenal scout. Like, his DM is just amazing. I love to watch him play and just put himself in really weird spots and still get out of it, pick up 3Ks and stuff like that. And as an engineer main myself, like one of the most annoying things is when I get contested with my when I only have a rescue ranger and I have someone back in my face trying to contest me and ask time after time, would draw people away, split the focus of the enemy team. And the other thing that happens that I think is kind of usually not taken into account is like when you have somebody behind enemy lines, that is taking valuable comms away from focusing on what's actually in front of you. So if we're talking about where's the scout right now, who's going to deal with the scout, someone needs to go do something about that. We can't do that while while the enemy team's coming at me. That's just taking more of that focus away. It's kind of similar to Valen, who ran the black box a long time ago, was one of the big people to bring that in there, and his play style was basically get behind the enemy team and just stay there and be annoying and just draw focus away. And when you have a good enough team to kind of work around that, I really think it worked out in their favor. And it just seemed that Experiment didn't know how to handle Ast when he did that. Maybe they needed to bring XD to deny that push or something more so, as it looks like we finally are joined in here by several players from the from actually both teams here. So why don't you, CeeJaey, take it away.
Yes, we've got Grenjabob, Hildreth, and Muuki from Highpander. We've also got Joe coming in from Experiment. So first off, congratulations to the Highpander guys. You are through to the next round. Were you getting nervy at all during the first couple of rounds of Upward? Because I think you capped with about 2 or 3 seconds left to go, and obviously you lost the second round. Was there any moment there that you kind of doubting yourselves?
Yeah, Hildreth was raging and complaining, but we told him to shut the fuck up. That's not the real story. Some people were starting to blame each other, but then we showed our super good experience as top level video game players and calmed down and proceeded to win the game.
I think actually losing the second round really focused us more for both the end of Upward and Bomb Blitz. We lost the round, we sat back, calmed down, realised we needed to calm down to win, and then just did it.
Was coming into Bomb Blitz, obviously you played against the Experiment on Bomb Blitz, so was there any special preparation you took to map, thinking, because remember in the regular season it was very close, you did win 2 rounds to 1, but was there any moment where you thought, we need to especially practice this map now, and be, were you expecting crits from Joe and stuff like that?
Yeah, we were expecting crits from Joe. You saw it again in the first round, getting baited for the crits again. But then we just decided, let's stop being noobs and let's stand and wait for them to use it on us. And then it was working.
And then we lost first.
Because somebody was bad, probably you. But we, I forgot what I was going to say. Bookie's put me off my stride.
Typical Muuki.
We'll let you kind of mull over your thought, as we are also joined by callecool, engineer from the Experiment. So to Joe and Callie, commiserations, but surely you guys must be pretty proud about how the season has gone. Your first season in Prem as a team together, and you've managed to take 4th place and put in a very respectable showing against an experienced team. And were you expecting more than this? Did you think you could do it today?
Yeah, definitely. We were just doing sloppy plays all the time. We were just being so stupid. We just let their flank just do whatever they want, as usual.
No, I still think we won in the end, because in the beginning there were 3 players in the team, so it's an entirely new team almost.
Well, yeah, you guys definitely put in a good showing today, especially on Upward. You guys almost took that map. That first round, you only lost by a few seconds. Callie, you're doing a great play. I believe that was in the second round on defense after you lost your sentry gun, and you just jumped onto the cart to help delay it about 20 more seconds when your team came in behind you. As an engineer myself, I don't know. Was that just a great feeling when you just know you got that cart defense and you kind of came in there?
Yeah, it was really nice, but we lost in the end, unfortunately. If I just killed them all.
Well, Ast was kind of contesting you throughout most of Barn Blitz. Kind of what, Joe and Callie kind of put this to you guys. What was happening with the comms when you'd see Ast do the bonk behind? Where did you guys kind of come to struggle with taking care of him?
Not really. It was just the fact that we just didn't kill him quick enough. We should have killed him so many more times. It's when he bonked away and then he just went behind. We should have just left him and do whatever he wants. And then we just fight him together. We just took 10 hours to kill him. Like, we shouldn't be fighting 1v1s against, like, probably who's the best scout. So, but it doesn't matter now. It's all over.
Couple of questions just for the experiment guys again. First one, Callie, how furious were you with the apparent meme stealing going on in the chat? I'm hearing words that you were raging about some meme stealing that was going on in between rounds. And secondly, for next season, you guys are playing UGC Plat, I hear. Are you going to be coming back for season 10, and is it going to be a similar roster, do you think?
Different roster. Most people are leaving, so yeah, we're changing most people.
Yeah, I got
It's
really
all
curious
good
about the
reform.
meme stealing. The worst thing I've ever, like...
I mean, you've got an
that's ever happened
ETF2L
to me.
admin on your team. You could, that's surely a minor warning for Highpander for stealing memes.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him.
Who stole your meme?
Fucking Doom stole my meme. And then someone said,
Wow.
oh, I am laughing. And that's... My memes! It hurts. Like, it pains my heart when people take my memes.
I'm pretty sure the good time but not best predates you,
Oh, yeah.
Kelly.
Maybe it does. I have no idea.
That meme is one I remember from.
You know, to be honest, I
long ago.
always steal all my memes.
Wow, shocking
I think
confession.
this discussion is evidence that we should euthanize Highlanders, was suggested.
So Hildreth, then, you're talking about utilising Highlander. You have got another match to play against Strong Opinions. How confident are you guys that you're going to be able to beat arguably the best team in Europe?
Shut the fuck up, man.
No one's
So, I mean, like,
arguing
what's
that.
the thoughts of the team? Are you confident going into this? Do you have any kind of special preparations?
Well, because of the brilliant scheduling by our wonderful Lord Kakautu, it's not really his fault, but I'm going to blame him anyway. The game's probably going to come thick and fast this week. So watch it now live on BlackOut TV, guys. But yeah, we might be playing very, very soon, and we might not have much time to practice. But I think we'll be fine if we all play with our monitors on and our mouse is connected.
I mean, the main difference between us and you is that we have Ast, you don't have Ast.
But they have
we
Toast.
have a Thalash.
Who?
Yeah, but we
Never
have
heard.
lost.
Did you say Inso?
I mean,
It's
we all
fine.
know what the map's like. You're too pussy to play us on 5CP maps, so
Okay.
it would probably just be a cart push fest like today. We'll see what happens.
Well, I can already predict which maps you're going to bam, because I know what you're scared of. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you've got that to look forward to. Sigafoo, is there anything else you wanted to ask these guys?
Not off the top of my head. Just congratulations on the win, and looking forward to seeing you guys move on to the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, Sigafoo, you
Thank
could
you.
probably cast with Hildreth in the grand finals when it's Strong Opinions versus Jets.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Already the talk coming out. I love it. Get a little. You guys need to have a little bit more of a grudge match going on here, so we have some more pregame talk for the next game. So just keep it up. Keep it up. I enjoy this.
I don't know. I don't, no point in rivaling teams that are so below our skill level. Slight rivaling unpoppable.
Oh, okay.
It's coming out here.
I'm gonna.
CJ,
I'm
anything
gonna,
yourself?
I'm not going to retaliate. I'm going to move on and move to shoutouts, because if this carries on, I might actually cry during the stream, so I don't want that to happen. So we're going to start from the top. I'm going to go with Callie. Is there anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Rope, and I want to shout out to Bludis and my favorite country in the world, Finland. And then I'd like to shout out Walnut and Kane. And my team, of course.
Of course, Grenjabob.
Okay, shout out to my team. Shout out to everyone I play with on TF2Pickup.net. And shout out to TF2Pickup.net. Shout out to Papa Carlos. Shout out to Sigafoo. Shout out to Gordon Bennett. And that's pretty much it.
See, you give me shout-outs, but you don't go for tapas with me. It's unacceptable.
Well,
Hildreth,
that's because
do
you're
you
going
have
to
any
throw the game
shout-outs?
for me.
I shout out to our team and Mr. Epic, the best backup of all time, and shout out to the return of Infinite on UGC forums. I love that guy.
Joe, any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to my team. Thanks for the season. Good job, Highpander. Nearly lost.
Thank you.
And that's about it.
And last but definitely not least, Muuki, do you have any shout-outs?
Shout out to Pastniaks2, my favorite Twitch meme. Nothing else.
Sigafoo?
Beautiful. Well, shout out, of course, to you, CeeJaey, for another lovely cast, and hopefully, I'm looking forward to seeing you play. Shout out to John, of course, for wrangling this all together, and of course to Highpander, the Experiment, for a wonderful game, and shout out to my Twitch stream, which is going live right after this. So I'm going to do self-promotion there. Yeah.
The shameless self-plugging.
Shave. Well, how is? Oh, come on, CeeJaey, what do you got?
Yeah, just shout out to you, Sigafoo, and John. Great cast as always. It's been a pleasure. Shout out to you guys for playing. It was a really good game to watch, really intense. So it's really nice to have a game like that rather than a boring one-sided one. Shout out to my team, Strong Opinions. Hopefully we organise our game at some point this week. So you'll be able to catch that on BlackOut Gaming TV. Whoever will be casting, might be Sigafoo, might be somebody else. So check out the news posts in the future on ETF2L. For when that game is going to be played. And yeah, this has been the first round of the playoffs, ETF2L Premiership Season 9. Highpander has won over 2 maps to 0 against the Experiment, and we'll see you next time.